my main thing here is to talk to you about, how I built this business and to show you how you can do the same for yourself. And that's, of course, what we all want to do is grow our businesses and take care of our families. So I want to start off with something I think is important to consider as we see in different places. Someone seems like people are popping up all over the place. It seems like they're like these overnight millionaires with their big businesses, and it just seems to happen. But I want to read this quote real quick. If you look at somebody who's really successful and you think, wow, they're so amazing, you got to dig underneath and remember something. People are rewarded in public for what they've practiced for years in private. And I like that quote because, when I show numbers like this to people in my business, and I know this with others, is that's just not something that happened, in a few months. There was work and time and sweat and determination that go into that. So I think this is important to consider. We're all starting at different places and at different times, but we all have the capability to build a big business if you do the right things at the right times. And that's true of just about anything. It's just that you need to put the effort and the determination and all, what you have to do, the sacrifice to make these things happen. Now I'm showing you, this is a screenshot, but I'm going to show you a little bit later on. I'm going to log into the platform so you can see exactly what it looks like and see sort of our trends and so forth. But I did promise this case study, and I will, a little bit later on in this webinar, you're going to see the whole picture of that. And I'll log into it while I'm on the webinar so you can really see it in action. So yeah, like I said, we're going to go over the background of this. I'm going to show you everything, and I'm going to show you how it all happened, the motivation behind it, and I'll talk about my mistakes as well as my successes. Now, on this webinar, there is nothing for sale, but at the end, I'll invite you for a special gift. Nothing here. There's no charge on anything here, or even for what I'm going to, the gift at the end. So, who is this for? It's for people, struggling in their business and that want to grow. Even start. We have people on here. I know of a couple people here that are starting their business. So there's a lot of challenges when you are starting your business and trying to grow it, and there's always things that come up. And I want to talk about some of those things that I had to go through to make my business the way I wanted it to. One of the things I always came up with is, I look at what I sold for the week. I'm always looking at those numbers, and I think, well, I know I could do better than that, but I need time, I need things, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. So for this webinar, I'd like you to do a few things. Take some notes and just be real positive about this. I'm going to really try to keep it kind of fun and light, and I want you to be completely present while I'm going through this, because I'm going to share some things here I've never shared with anyone before. And turn the volume down off your Androids and iPhones, and close that Facebook tab on your browser. So here we go. Well, this is how it all started. For me, there's always some form of motivation. I think all of us come to some point where we know that we have to do something different. We can't keep doing the same thing, and that we want to make a change. And so sometimes that's an event or an idea. And for me, it was when we were pregnant with our first daughter. And we were talking, and my wife said to me, well, Frank, you need to make more money. And I thought, And I remember it to this day, and this was quite some time ago. And I look back at that. That was the time when, at the time I was been working for the same company for 8 years. I was an IT manager. I was in charge of all the computers and networks and everything for an advertising company. I really liked my job because computers were fun to work with, hooking them up and making things work. But my wife, I love her very much, and she saw that I had so more potential, and she challenged me to do so. I didn't want my wife to need to work when we had our children. I wanted her to be able to stay home, and I think she wanted that too. So what did I do about that? Well, with my experience, I was able to take that, and I contacted some agencies, and I was able to get some. Did contract type work where I take projects, 3 months, 6 months, a year type of things, and I like that a lot. I immediately doubled my income doing that versus my salary job. And here's 4 companies that I work with that many of you have probably heard of before. And I worked for some others that are not so well known, but I would spend a lot of time in these big server rooms, and I would set up firewalls and VPNs, and primarily it was security systems for large companies, firewalls, like I said, and sometimes the mail servers and all sorts of stuff. It was great fun. Technology changes so much, and I really enjoyed being able to work with some of the latest things. I spent quite a lot of time in server rooms, and I like the people I work with. But this period of time when I did this, I learned something very important. And doing a contract job, I'm always I'm making sure that I'm doing everything I possibly can because they're spending lots of money. And I learned that the relationships that I had with these companies, that having these relationships in business are extremely important. So I made a lot of friends there. I'm still in contact with some of the people I worked with, and that turned out to be, sometimes those turned out to be lucrative, but they were just, I made lots of friends. But I really, someone who had worked at one company for 8 years, and I don't think I really appreciated the value of creating those relationships, but I learned how important that is, to have a good relationship with the people you're working with and the people you're working for. The other thing is, and I'm really jumping into, I want to cover this rather quickly because I know everyone wants to see some numbers. But in this business of e-commerce and counting on suppliers and manufacturers and distributors and fulfillment houses, that relationship with all of your suppliers and those that assist, that relationship is important too. Every single one of my successful products and my successful niches that I've worked in have usually started off with a phone call to a supplier. I know in this day and age, most people just want to use email and, do a contact form, but I found that relationship on being able to talk to someone. And so much of our communication is, even just verbally, you can express things by the way you say it versus just an email. And it really does create a relationship with someone. I have suppliers that I have purchased from for more than 10 years. And those typically started with a phone call. And one of the main things that although I do enjoy working with my suppliers, but having that relationship gave me some advantages that some of my competitors did not. So, for example, if a new product came out, because I had this relationship, they'd often call me and say, "Hey, Frank, we got this new thing. Do you want to try selling it?" And I'd say, "Yeah, of course." And so by being earlier to market with certain things and having that relationship paid off so many times. And that's where those relationships are coming and become very important, as well as and I have suppliers where I go out and visit them. Some are local, some I fly and go see, but those relationships are very important, especially your suppliers. But anyone else in your supply chain, in your business, your fulfillment house, and your team that works on your business, all those relationships are so important. One of the things I always find when I talk to people that are trying to start up an e-commerce business or have started one, and they may be, have a day job, I kind of hear there seems to be something holding them back from pushing things forward. And and sometimes they tell stories of, okay, well, I've only tried a couple products, and there's some fear that maybe a product they try fails, but I sense this as I talk, and I went through the same thing when I started my business. I mean, there is some work to sell a new product, but that's something that you have to get used to. Getting over is going to that next thing, and just can't. You got to fail quickly and try to succeed slower. You don't want to you don't want to fail slow and succeed quickly. The slow failure is really bad. Believe me, I know. Okay. And the other thing is, and I've got 4 major points, and I've got one more after this. You can't do everything. Come on, especially in a physical products business. I mean, I hear these. I went through this, and I still hear stories, about people talking about, oh, well, I thought, I could do a laptop lifestyle kind of thing. All I need is internet. I can run my business. But then they say, oh, but I gotta pack all these boxes. Well, I did that too for years. I tried to do everything. I packed boxes. And so anyway, you can't do all of that. You have to come to the conclusion that you can't do everything. And once you get there, then you just find others to do it for you. It doesn't mean hiring. It does not mean big offices and lots of employees. In this day of the internet, there's so many other alternatives, and we'll talk about that some more too. So I started, probably like many of you, I started my business in my garage, my e-commerce business. It was in my garage 14 years ago. And I really love this because I had found a niche that I understood, and at the time it had huge margins, and I was just making money like crazy. But I could only go so far, and then I ran out of time, and I was just trying to do everything. I couldn't. You just can't do everything. Well, the bottleneck was me. I mean, this picture here is an actual picture of my products at a fulfillment warehouse, and this is only like 2 of the racks. I think I have a lot. There's a lot more, and then I did everything. I packed the boxes, I answered the phone calls, I did my own bookkeeping. I couldn't take a vacation because if I went on vacation, things didn't get shipped. I mean, every morning I woke up and I felt overwhelmed, and I started to hate my work. And I think we can all, some of you here probably already relate with this, and I think I see a couple of yeses in there, in the chat box. So there I was, I've got the right products, I've got the right niche, I understand my customers, but I can't go any further. I mean, if I answer the phone and take a phone call, then I'm not, boxes aren't getting packed. And so, some days I would literally get a whole bunch of calls because people had questions before they purchased. And then I would not be able to fulfill all the orders that day because I got too many calls. So does any of this sound like you? I know that some of you here have already said yes. So, I mean, I've just tried to do everything, and I looked at other people doing the same thing, and I couldn't figure out what they were doing. How did they grow? Why are they doing better than I am? Because I mean, I've got all these great products too, and they're selling like crazy, but I'm just too busy packing boxes and taking phone calls. Well, everything changed for me when I got a mentor, someone who actually had done this before, and with him, I right away changed things completely to the point where I was no more phone calls. I answered no more calls, and I didn't pack any more boxes. But I continued. I was able to grow my business. In the next few years, I mean, my business grew so fast because I had the time to actually manage what's going on rather than actually just packing boxes. So, I mean, this was the start of everything for me. It completely changed everything. So that ended up being outsourcing repetitive tasks. It was everything from packing boxes, which I moved to a fulfillment warehouse, to answering the phone calls, which I trained, a group of people who do that professionally, and they handle all the calls. I take very few phone calls through our business lines, and outsource anything that's repetitive. All the bookkeeping and the order processing and all these other things that I can train someone else. Someone else does it. He helped me set reasonable goals. So he knew what he had experienced doing this before, so he was able to guide me, which thing I should change first, and then I would go to the next and go to the next. One of the most important things that I got out of having a mentor is he kept me accountable. I mean, we would have we'd talk on the phone once or twice a week, and at the beginning of the next call, he'd ask me how things go from our last call. So he helped me set my agenda and my goals and some of my strategies to get me to where he knew was the right place. And I mean, there was so much more that he helped me with. So, and without that, you have to identify what you're doing with your time, because that's the most precious resource we have. We only have so much time, and my mentor really helped me do that so I could scale my business. And once these are in place, I mean, I don't handle products that's being shipped anymore. I don't ever see it. I mean, we are selling so many new products and most of them I have never handled at this point. So, but it just works. So why? I mean, do you want to do this? I mean, you really limit your own growth by not having someone to help out. If you don't delegate, you just won't have time. And that free time, it's important. I mean, I've had kids that were growing up, and I wanted to spend time with them. And through this process with my mentor, I was able to get things into place, and it was really great to be when my kids were in school and there were field trips to go on and they needed parents to help. I was able to go on all of them. I had the time to contribute to my children's school and to spend that time with them. So, I mean, I'm just say this again. I'm removed myself from almost all my daily activities. Right now, like 95% of everything, every daily activity, I just don't even get involved with it. I focus on the strategies, the strategic items for the business, and then I just keep it growing. So I'm going to log in to my platform right now. Let's pull out of the screen, and let's see. We're going to go back in to here, and we'll log into Amazon. This is where we've had just incredible growth. I'm typing everything wrong. I can't talk and type at the same time. Okay. Okay. So here we go. Oh, I don't want to save that. Let's go in here. We'll pull up our. We'll pull up the page here. I can remember where to go. Okay, there we go. And so we'll jump in here. That's just today so far. We don't sell, the products that I sell are not holiday related typically. So we're going to look at a larger time frame here. So we'll go from, let's try November 2000. We'll go to February. Okay, what we got now? Oh. Okay, so here we are. We kind of started this back in, this is about, yeah, we were testing a few little things here, put a little bit more in here, and really we started sending a lot of inventory around here in June of 2014. So here we are, it's about 18 months, and we've sold over $10 million in 18 months off this new store. You can see this right here. There's a gap, and that is, we actually had our account disabled for a period of time due to, some sort of issue with a product and its SKU and the condition and so forth. And I mean, Amazon just sent us some messages that were very vague, and we kind of had to guess what the problem was, but we got it cleared up. So basically from about here, it was about 18 months, we sold $10 million worth of equipment. And I mean, this is actually the same niche where I started 14 years ago. These are products in the same niche. And so we just knew that there was a marketplace for this equipment on Amazon as well. So we started it off here. It started off a little bit slow, and then we built it up. And then, so like the last 12, yeah, so we've, this is our sales. It's that in 18 months, we sold over $10 million of products, started off pretty small. And, we've got some challenges to go. We started kind of in here, we started getting some competition, but we've got some things that we're going to be taking care of pretty quickly to take care of that too. But this all comes down to knowing your niche and your audience. What do they want? And we do very little advertising for these products. People kind of find it in there, and then we have a very good reputation on Amazon. And yeah, this is the screen. This is what I wanted to show you. And that's, there it is. I mean, this is one of the things I just talk to people about, and they struggle with their sales. And I say, look, the main thing you need to do is you need to, who is buying from you? What the item you need to find out, and they know exactly who that person is and what they want and what they're going to buy in the future. And then you give it to them. And this is what it comes down to, is really understanding what your niche wants and then giving it to them. And you have this huge audience on Amazon. I mean, we sell this on our own e-commerce site as well, outside of Amazon. But at this point, this has surpassed our e-commerce website It's so convenient for us. The inventory goes to the Amazon warehouses, and they take care of it. And that's this is what this whole thing looks like. This is our 18 months we've been able to scale this up to over $10 million. And let's go back into our slides, and we'll get back into this. Okay, so who am I? These now, the time has gone by. My kids are grown up or growing up. I've got my oldest daughter is now, from that time where my wife said, "Frank, you need to make some more money." She's grown up now. She's away to college, and my wife has been able to be a stay-at-home mom. It's all this. Going through this has just really paid off. So, is your business giving you everything you don't want, or is everything perfect for you? So here we go. Like I've mentioned, 90% of my business is now run on autopilot. All those products that you see for sale on Amazon, I never touch them. They just we just keep getting more from our supplier, and they go off to Amazon, and we just keep that going. And we're continuously looking for more things, but we just go through the same process over again that my mentor helped me with, and we just repeat that process, and we continue to find new things to sell. So my question to you is, would you like to do the same thing? Well, of course, you'd like to do the same thing. With the way things have set up, this is my brother-in-law's boat. And one weekend he said, "Hey, Frank, let's go fishing." And he was going to take a day off his work. And I said, "Sure." And I was able to just say that without having to ask my boss for time off or anything like that. Just when you've got your own business, you have that freedom of taking off the time without asking permission. So we took the boat out to off the coast of California, and we spent the whole day fishing. So, have you ever thought if you had more time, do you think you could grow your business? Well, there's mainly I kind of break down the business, and there's two things in your business. There's the selling and marketing of your offers or products, and then the other part is fulfilling them. And almost all businesses are divided up in these two general areas. So if you're a doctor, you always have to fulfill, and if you're a small practice, you're doing both. Usually they hire someone else to do the selling and marketing, but doctors fulfill their own offer, their own services. They fulfill. The professionals are typically fulfilling their own, but other businesses, say if you're a plumber, when you're starting off, you're doing your selling and marketing and fulfilling everything. But when you get to your business to a certain point, and when the growth takes place, when you can split yourself from the fulfillment, or at least one of these two, that's when your business growth happens. So for me, my focus is on the number one here, the selling and marketing. And even with this, when something becomes repetitive in my selling and marketing, I train someone else to do that piece. And the fulfilling, I never touch any product anymore. So this is if you're selling e-commerce products, this is exactly the same type of model that you want to go through. So I just want to do a recap of what we talked about. You need to build your business relationships. This is so important for continuing and growing your business. Those relationships, especially with suppliers, distributors, and manufacturers, will make all the difference in the world. You need to overcome fear, and most often that's obstacles. And these obstacles will pop up, and you'll feel like it's just so hard and you got to spend so much time, but just you just need to get through them. I mean, there are times, so many times when I look back, and even in the present, things come up, and I look at this, I say, there's so much I have to do, but I keep telling myself, well, if this was easy to do, I mean, everybody would do it. But doing anything worth doing is going to take some work and determination and sacrifice. You can't do everything yourself. Once you have proven your model, your product, your service, it's time to start running your business like it is a real business, and bring in others to assist and to take over the parts of your business that you should not be in. And you need a mentor. My business has grown. Sometimes I've even had two mentors, one to help me just specifically on the business pieces, and another with my marketing. But the mentors have really, really helped me out and made a huge difference in my business. Okay, you have two options, when you're building your business. Like I've shown you, I went for years without anybody to help me, and I just had to figure it out myself. I mean, if I had a mentor much earlier on, it would have saved me 3 to 5 years of like lots of pain and lots of long, hard days. So, I mean, the best way is getting somebody in a similar field of your business, or someone who understands it, that's already gone through the process of building a business. And so this is, imagine you're a sports team. Every team has a coach, and often the success of the team is determined by the coach. I mean, you could have a football team, whatever it is. These players, they they join the team, and they're experienced at what they do, but the coach can watch from the outside and see what they're doing and offer corrections. And since the coach has had experience doing this, then he can really build a team. And that's the same thing with a coach, is someone who can watch you from the sidelines and then come in and say timeout, and then correct you and get you back on the right course. And then when he sees habits that you need to be changed, he can help you be accountable for that. I mentioned that earlier. I think the number one thing with a coach is the accountability. So what mentoring is it brings you return on investment. I mean, mentoring is not an expense. It's an investment in your business, because you will get so much more back from it than you put in. The leverage you get is with the coach's experience that already. I mean, it's so much easier to run your business when you have someone you can call. So you're doing something new and you don't know how to get through it, or you need advice on what choice to make. It's much better to talk to someone who's already gone through that. That's really kind of a no-brainer. Accountability, this is what really helps me, is as I go through my strategies and my goals, then my mentor keeps me on track, and from call to call, and from week to week and month to month. And then having that access to that knowledge makes a huge difference when I need it. And it keeps me focused on what's important, because it's so easy to just develop a habit to do certain things every day, and you'll just keep on doing the same thing. And my mentor helps keep me focused on what the next thing that I need to do, or what I need to be doing right now in my business. So I bring this up because, it's really easy to show slides and talk about this, and how important a mentor is and what a mentor can do for you. But just like, tomorrow, after watching this video, you're going to go into your office and you're going to just like if you walked out of a spaceship and when you're near Saturn, the environment will kill you without a spacesuit. So having a mentor is like having that spacesuit when you go back into your office. Otherwise, you'll go back to your work, your job, or your work, or your new business. The next day, without a mentor, you will just go back into that environment, and you will continue to do the same thing you have been doing. But what your mentor will do is kind of like that spacesuit. They will protect you, and they will keep you going in the way you should, so you can thrive and survive in your business environment. Okay, so at this point, what you have a choice. Just like we talked, you continue going down the same road in the same environment and keep doing the same things, or really, really make a big change. And what I can do to help you is I've blocked out some certain blocks of time on my calendar to speak to you one-on-one. So it would just be you and I talking on the phone. We talk about how to apply some change to your business. And one of the things that I like to do is have people, bring me a challenge or a problem, or just something you're trying to overcome, and we'll see what we can do on that call. I mean, that time we're together, I'll do my best to over-deliver. And there's no charge for this, but it's just a time for us to talk to see if we're a good fit. But there's no obligation. For you, it's just a time for us to talk, and I can talk about some of my experiences and perhaps help you with something you're trying to take care of. Okay. Mentoring, who is it for? It's for people that are truly committed to building a business. It really takes some commitment to start a business and have a mentor. The expectation is you are going to be totally committed to what you're doing. And that requires, investing in some real change. The success that I've made, I would not be even close without my mentor. And then you have to be serious about wanting to do it the right way. I mean, if you love just trying to beat your head against the wall and struggle with some things, even though you may be not even thinking that you're hitting that, a mentor can really bring some clarity, and some of those issues that you're maybe subconsciously dealing with as far as taking your business in a much better direction will clear up. Okay, you have to be willing to invest in yourself and your business. I mean, anytime we do anything, advertising, we expect return on investment. I mean, that's the same thing I expect when I invest in a mentor, is that I am going to get something, my business is going to get something back that will make the return on investment and much more. Okay, on this call, we're going to talk, and I'm going to help you get some real clarity on the kinds of things you should be doing for your business. And it doesn't matter where you are in your business. I worked with people who are trying to start, or people that just want to grow. And I want to make sure, I really like talking to people about this and help them grow their businesses. On the call, if you want continued help after the call, then that you're welcome to be one of my people that I mentor. But that's completely up to you. But this call is open to everybody to talk about whatever you'd like to talk about as far as your business goes. But I really don't have a lot of space left in the business. So I'm asking you to please, I only want people that are very serious about growing their business. Give me a call. All right. So if we do work together, I'll put you through the exact same training that I've put my other successful students through. And it's designed to help you get right back on track very quickly with the right priorities. And my expectation, and you should expect this too, is to be getting results very quickly. And that's what my mentoring students actually are able to accomplish. So I like I said, I blocked out some time. I don't have, a huge amount of time, but I blocked out some time, and I still have some space left for the next few days. So there's a link below here that you can follow, or you can follow this URL above. You can follow that, and just complete the whole process there, and you can schedule a time to talk to me. So I hope. I hope through this my main goal in this process is to help people just like you to grow their businesses. And like we said at the very beginning, so much of this happens when you see someone have success. There is quite a bit of effort and work and determination that has been put into that. And I would very much like to be part of your success. And I invite you to call. I like talking to people. Just set up a time where we can talk. Just follow this link. And I would love to talk to you about your business. I just get so much out of talking to people to see where they are and what their challenges are and learning about what you are doing. I thank you so much for joining this webinar. And normally at this time we would have a question and answer, but since I've already invited you to this opportunity to talk to me on the phone, then if you have any questions about this, please set up a time to talk with me. And I look forward to doing that in the next couple of days. Follow this link and set up a time. There's set up a time that works for you through this link. And I look forward to talking to you in the next few days.